Nangasya vamso rajashir Esha sangstatum arhati Amoga viryahi niripa Vamsesmin keshavasrayaha Matajis Nangasya vamso rajashir Esha sangstatum arhati Amoga viryahi nripa Vamsesmin keshavasrayaha. Again, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The sages, brauchst du Hilfe? Es braucht immer ein bisschen Batterie und dann kann es mit der Powerbank dazu aufladen. Aber es läuft nicht, ja? Schade. Haben wir eine zweite Batterie da oder nicht? Mhm. Ja. Ich hätte noch ein Kabel gebunden als zu Hause. Okay. Okay. So, the sages decided that the descendants of the family of saintly King Anga should not be stopped, for in this family the semen was very powerful, and the children were prone to become devotees of the Lord. Purport. The purity of the hereditary succession is called Amoga Virya. The pious seminal succession of the twice-born families of the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas especially, as well in the families of Vaishyas also, must be kept very pure by the observation of the purificatory processes, beginning with Garbhadhana Samskara, which is observed before conceiving a child. Unless this purificatory process is strictly observed, especially by the Brahmanas, the family descendants become impure, and gradually sinful activities become visible in the family. Entschuldigung, kann mir jemand so ein Zewa-Tuch bringen? Das wäre total nett. So, yeah, here I wanted to note that. Thank you. Yeah, good. My children knows. That said that the brahmanas, even if a brahmana would not perform the Garbhadhana Samskara, which is something very intimate the parents do before conceiving the child, if they don't do it, the son could not be understood as being a proper brahmana. So the brahmanas, they used to have a chart of all their descendants, the family. And also they needed to write down that, okay, yes, we did the Garbhadhana Samskara, we did everything. And they did all the rituals. They need to prove that we were proper brahmanas. And every brahmana still now, when they come and, for example, they do their samskaras or pujas, they usually, they know from which vamsa they are from mainly of the seven sages, great seven sages, the like Vashishta, Vishwamrita Vamsa, different Vamsas they are from, and then they say, when you perform the Yajna. When we do Yajna for ourselves, we say we are from Hari Vamsa, we are from the family of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because it means everybody. We're nothing special, we're just Hari Vamsa. So, then, but the semen of the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas were special. So, and gradually sinful activities become visible in the family if the family descendants become impure. Maharaj Anga was very pure because of purification of semen in the family of Maharaj Dhruva. Maharaj Anga was very pure because of the purification of semen in the family of Maharaj Dhruva. However, his semen became contaminated in association with his wife, Sunita, who happened to be the daughter of death personified. Because of his polluted semen, King Vena was produced. This was a catastrophe in the family of Dhruva Maharaj. All the saintly persons and sages considered this point, and they decided to take action in this matter. Described in the following verses. And the next verses are very interesting. They are doing some witchcraft. They're churning bones and different things. Very spooky. Actually, you could say that they're doing some cloning. They're taking the DNA and then churning everything, and then somebody comes out. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastote Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sudate Vipranamami Hari Priye. Namam Vishnu Madhaya Krishna Manchakapatu Vashakri Pasindhu Vashapati Tanam Bhavani Vaishnavi Namo Namaha. Namam Vishnu Madhaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutali Shrimati Kanama Kanana Samati Namne. Namam Vishnu Madhaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutali Gurudasha Advaita Samati Namne. Namam Vishnu Madhaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutali Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadini Vishesha Sonjavari Paskatali Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, so we hear that the descendants of especially Kshatriya and Brahmana family are very powerful. In our Western civilization, we have the story or the family descendants of the great kings. We have the Habsburger family. We have the royal family of the Hohenzollern. What other different royal families do we have in Spain? Do you know the royal family? What is their name? Borbois. Borbones. Sounds like some sweet. But the king is still like very powerful there, huh? Has something, yeah, a little bit. But they have a king. And Jordan, you also have a king. What's their family name? Your cousin? Is your good friend? Yeah, must have Al-Waqba, Al-Hashimi. But they have like descendants, Habsburg or something like that. Hashmai family. Okay, cool. Yeah, so everybody it's known all over the world that actually the king should stem from a royal family. And I met somebody on the street in Switzerland that was distributing books, and then an elderly lady, and then they start talking everything, and then she told me that she was invited by her colleague to some wedding or birthday party, but she didn't know that it was the prince of Liechtenstein or some royal family, and she didn't know that, but she was very close friends, and then she got a letter. We need to prove so that you can come to our wedding. We need to prove we need to research your descendants, so please give us your details, what you have. And a few weeks later, she got a letter. Yes, you're okay, you're blessed, you can come to our ceremony. So because it's a closed circle. But the idea is that, yes, you try to be careful. Even here in our Western civilization, they try to keep the royal families strictly closed so that it wouldn't become impure. And in a way that, that you have quality descendants, people who are qualified to take up the responsibility, not just some nonsense people who have nothing to say and they don't know anything about their field. So this is the expertise that people have, and then the children grow up seeing their parents doing it, and then they become expert in this field. So therefore says that the seminal line is very important. There are also some German, I forgot their names, but there's some German families who were coming from great scientists, like Brahmanas, and his father was a professor, and the other one was a great scientist, and this was a great scientist. There's some families like that also. And it's natural if you grow up in an academic family that the children are all educated. I know the wife of Mangalananda Prabhu, Dhara Mataji, all her relatives have a PhD in something. Even her cousin, grandmother, great-great-grandmother, everybody has a PhD in some field. They were all little intellectuals. So it's natural to have this line, and we inherit more from our family than we think. Nowadays we think, yes, I'm independent, I can do whatever I want. But we get so many things that we get from our family, from our parents, that we can take towards we take towards our lives. And then if we accept that, then we become more wholesome. Sometimes we are cutting off ourselves from our predecessors and trying to be just something that we are not. But we need to go step by step to become pure devotee. We must see where are we now, and where can we go? Where do we want to go? And then we can act accordingly, and it can help us. So we can see here that the Maharaj Anga was very pure because of the family of Maharaj Dhruva. So Dhruva Maharaj, we heard the story. It was very nice how he got salvation, how he could see the Lord in such a young age, but then he fell prey to anger when his brother and his mother-in-law were killed in a forest fire. So and then he killed the yakshas, and it was a great battle and everything. It was very interesting. So we can see that if there's a great devotee, it can be assumed that a great devotee child can come from this family. And therefore, that was the argument of the Brahmanas that, okay, he is a king and a devotee, so that's perfect. Let's get some more devotees out of him. And then we can see later their attempt was pretty successful, very successful even. But it's, as I said before, we have some, especially this next verse, and then verses after that, we can see that the Brahmanas, they were adept in kind of, what is in cloning, yeah? They did clones. And they were amazing. They could create a body out of other remnants, and then some living entities came out of it. So the science of the Brahmanas was very elevated. It was not that simple as nowadays, where we just have matter and we try to manipulate, and it's just all gross, but it's more subtle. It goes with mantras, it goes with the meditation, that you create something. Nowadays, it's just like tools, whatever tools of physics I don't understand, we don't use. But there are finer physics that we cannot perceive very easily. But maybe in due course of time, we will find out more about that. So we see that this the semen of King Vena was, even though he was a terrible king, the Brahmanas had hope in it. They said, okay, we can create a powerful devotee. And we can see that from our acharyas, even though we have, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how many children did he have? 9 or 11. Yeah, 9 or 11, I heard big numbers. Quite a lot. And not all of them became devotees. Some of them, even though he was a pure devotee himself, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta was, of course, powerful son. Also his first son, his name is, I forgot. But the first son also is very prominent. He also has a descendant, a family line, and they're actually philosophically not so much deviating, but they always had big fights. They don't accept Bhaktisiddhanta as a representative of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Bhaktisiddhanta doesn't accept his elder brother as a representative of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And if you're curious about this, there's actually a podcast about with Namras and one of the elder brother, I forgot his name, of Bhaktisiddhanta, and one of his main disciples in his line, which is very interesting. But they're also devotees. I mean, they chant Hare Krishna and they're full, but it's just little philosophical deviations, not deviations, but differences, I would say. And but it's so interesting. There are so many devotees out there, different kind of devotees we have never heard of, but they're all devotees, and they're amazing devotees, not just some devotees, so very special devotees. Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Bhagavan ki Jai. Haribo Jai. Jai Nrsimha. Yeah. So this is an amazing family. Then we have the family of the six Goswamis, Tapana Mishra, and his son was Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Am I right? Yes, yeah, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And they're actually from South India, from Srirangam. And they were one of the main priests. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami was therefore very learned in deity worship. And Prabhupada said, when devotees went to Vrindavan, and they asked Prabhupada, how shall we perform puja? Prabhupada said, we should do it according to the standards that Gopapada Goswami has set in the Radharaman temple. And therefore we have our standard here. And Radharaman temple, if you go to Vrindavan, is a very nice and beautiful temple. Who has been to Radharaman temple? Yes, it's very beautiful. It's amazing. Everybody needs to go there. It's okay, let me tell a story about Radharaman. So one day, Gopapada Goswami, he went to pilgrimage. And you go to Kalyakandaki. Kalyakandaki is a river in the Himalayas where you can find Shalagram Shilas. So he was just on a pilgrimage, and he wanted to bath. And then by bathing, he took a bucket to take up the water and bathe. But then there were some Shalagram Shilas in it. But he said, like, I want to be a Goswami, I want to be renounced, I don't want to have all this trouble to worship. And, we would be like, wow, we got a Shalagram Shila, yes, I want to worship it. But he was, nah, I don't like it. And poured it back. So he again took the bucket and wanted to shower, and then again they were inside. So it was 3-4 times, and they didn't go away. So it's like, okay, if they really want to be with me, what can I do? Then he took them and started his worship. But then he saw that all his fellow Goswamis, they all had such nice deities. And they were worshipping him so nice, and he comes actually from a family tradition which is very rich in puja. In South India, in Sri Rangam, if you go to the temple, it's amazing. For Mangal Arati, an elephant comes in, and a cow, and a veena. So before the altar door opens, then they sing the Supravartam. Like we also have a Supravartam song for the Singari. We sing it usually for the Singa Chaturdasi, before the Mangal Arati, then some devotees come, sing Madhava Kishori, Ramananda, and others, and then they sing the Supravartam, especially Madhava Kishori. We also recorded it in the Simhachalam classics. You can listen to it. Simhachalesha Niharita Supravartam. They put it every day in the puja room. You can listen. Yeah, so you can see it's still there. But there, actually, in Sri Rangam, it's very interesting if you go to Sri Rangam. It's a 2 square kilometer temple. It's a temple compound with 2 kilometers in this direction, 2 kilometers in this direction. It's huge. And you have 7 walls. So it's like a little city. You go in, and it's like 5 meters, and then there's, or 10 meters, and then there's stores on this side and that side, some little stores, but also then little shrines. So first, you don't really realize that you're entering the first gate, then you go to the second gate, and there are less stores, or almost no stores. But there are so many temples, little small temples around, and then you go to the next one, and to the next one, so all the 7 gates, and each one has this Gopuram, this big tower above it, very beautiful. And then you go to the main thing, to the main temple hall, and then there's no Gopuram. You say, huh, that's strange. Usually you would do the other way around. On the main temple, you make the main tower on top of it, but they don't have. But they have only a small Gopuram, like this high, and to Björn and to me, back to me, yeah, and this width. But it is said it is out of solid gold only. Huge block of gold. So and they say that they call it the Vimana, like an airplane. And some say this used to be airplanes, and there are many who have some speculations about airplanes that maybe it can fly still. Who knows? But it's called Vimana. So and when you go in there in this hall, then it looks like, okay, what's in there? But still very high ceilings, it's like really beautiful carving. And when you come in there, you see it's really, really old. It's really hundreds of, maybe thousands of years old. Very nice. And then you go in for Mangal Arati, especially. Nothing's happening in the city. It's very quiet. And then you go there, and then suddenly you hear, boom, 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 boom. The elephant comes in. So then the whole band comes. First the cow, then the elephant, and the singer. So she sits down with the veena and starts making the music, and then somebody sings the Supravartam for the Lord, very beautiful. And then some Chennai, and then they open the altar. Oh, very nice. And then, but it's also there in South Indian temples, they don't have any artificial lights. So it's like here, it's very dark because it's all old stone. It's mainly black, also from all this pujas they're doing. So it's quite dark. So there's no artificial light, and only have lamps. And also like here for Mangal Arati, it looks very mysterious. And then they open, it looks so mysterious. And then the elephant comes and bows down, and sometimes he makes a toot, instead of the conch shell. He makes the noise. He's the conch shell, and then the arati starts, and then also they do every day a small abhishek. It's very beautiful. It's very amazing. I can recommend everybody, because also Sri Rangam is not so touristic, not so big. I mean, back then when we were there, as Vrindavan. Vrindavan is so many people coming, so touristic, so big, but Sri Rangam is really like a place of pilgrimage, and it's very beautiful. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami comes from this tradition. He was one of the main priests, so he has this urge to worship and celebrate, and he doesn't have any clothes for the Lord. He doesn't have a deity to dress, and then even worse, on this day, especially this Nrsimha Chaturdasi, he gets from so many friends. He gets from the days before Nrsimha Chaturdasi, he gets, it's tradition, you get gifts, and then he gets gifts from other, when he goes begging, they give him gifts, here for your deity, and then he gets so many small dresses and gifts, and he's so sad that he has no deity that he can worship. And then he goes home, he's very sad, and he's actually cursing Krishna, says like, if you don't come to me, I will stop worshiping you. And he's very, very angry, actually. I want to worship you. So he goes sleeping, and the next day he wakes up and opens the altar, and he says, who is there? There's Radha Krishna standing there in three-banded folded form. And if you look, it's very small. It's like this size, Radha Raman in Vrindavan. It's very beautiful, sweet deity. And it's very attractive, also his smile. And sometimes they say if you look different photos of the Radha Raman deity, you can see that his smile is changing. Sometimes he's more smiling. You can see his teeth, sometimes less. So you can really see that his form is sometimes changing. It's very beautiful. So this is Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who was then so eager and so ecstatic doing this performances, and then this puja, and then he established a very nice puja standard there, and still the Goswamis keep up today a very high standard of the puja. In different parts of the families, they exchange, they have routines of serving Radha Raman. It's like 3 months or 1 month. I think, yeah, I know it's apart. 3 months one family does, and then 3 months the next family does. So, but so if it's not your turn, then the family we were invited to Vrindavan by this one pujari, and we asked him, how is it? And he said, yeah, it's kind of quite terrible if it's not your turn, and it's Janmashtami or something, and then you want to worship the Lord, but you cannot because it's the other family's turn. There are so many siblings and relatives, so it's the other family's turn, and they're like, oh, we would have liked. But then maybe in 5 years they know which exactly, in the next 10 years already, whose turn is when. Okay, in 5 years we can do it. We can have Janmashtami for Radha Raman. So it's just very nice that they can worship the Lord Radha Raman in such a beautiful way, and the tradition is kept. And so this is the family of devotees which are still intact. And we have also other acharyas in our family, in our Guru Parampara, who were great devotees. We have Prabhupada, he had some children, 3 sons. But as far as I met one, Vrindavan Chandra, I think is his name. And he's Mayapur, and he's still a devotee, and but not so well known, but he's still apparently a devotee, and nice. So there's still some family lines of devotees which are there, and we can try to be, if we have our own families, that we are such an example that we can keep the tradition. We can keep the tradition that in 10 years there's in 10 generations there are still devotees. And that would be beautiful, huh? Just imagine 10 generations that remember Bhakta Björn. Remember, yes, my great-great-great-grandfather, when he joined, he was Bhakta Björn. He was in the temple and he did this and that, And they're all still here in the temple or around or somewhere, and they're all devotees. And then, yeah, let's go and visit the temple of our great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Bhakta Björn. Still Bhakta Björn. Maybe by then, I don't know. Bhima Das or something. So that's the idea, that we become such devotees that the children get such an impression that, yes, I want to be a devotee. And that's actually what, it's a natural thing, it's a sociological thing that we, in due course of time, we become expert how to raise our children. I mean, ISKCON is not so old. The first generation kind of messed it up. Second generation, we are trying to do it better. And third generation is hopefully going to do it perfect. And it is not easy. I mean, to raise children, it is quite a challenge. It says it takes a whole village to raise children. And it is very crucial. If you're not able to raise our children in Krishna consciousness, then we're losing it. It means because then the society is decreasing. It means we always need to get input from outside instead of growing from inside. No. So this is important that all our children are Krishna conscious. And this we can do by being very great examples and reading the Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna, offering prasad, and keeping the traditions. And this is very enlivening. It's so natural for children to be Krishna conscious. And they like it also. They like to be in the temple, run around, and have fun. You know. So that is something which we can give to others, and we can try to keep the families very Krishna conscious. So if you get a wife or a devotee partner in your life, which is for most of us at one point will be happening, try to keep the spiritual semen pure. To have also a devotee wife who is very conscious and is very powerful and can enable you to raise Krishna conscious children. Else it will be so difficult. It's such a big trouble. We have witnessed some devotees who somehow became devotees and they were so ecstatic bhaktas, but then they were mental, went back home, and suddenly they had a child with some lady which was not so devotional, and then was very difficult. And he was for many years suffering, like, oh, I want to be in the temple, I want to be with you guys, but I feel the responsibility. I cannot leave them alone. You know, this is my children. I need to take responsibility. So yes, we need to take responsibility, and we need to be very careful, and we need to pray for the Lord that He gives us this protection, that we can grow together in Krishna consciousness. And then we even don't know if you're together that you will stay both devotees. So we need to pray and be grateful for everything that we have. That okay, please, let's let our family stick to the lotus feet of the Lord. Let them be very strong in devotion, so that they can set an example for next generations. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments or critics? Yes. Why the first generation didn't work? There's many points, but one of the main things that they were so. Generally, in any religion, or you have the charismatic leader, and the charismatic leader, Srila Prabhupada, calls towards followers for great renunciation and surrender. That's what usually is. You know, you have the great charismatic, and then they are completely surrendered. So the Prabhupada disciples, they were so surrendered. Then we still talk with them. You know, Prabhupada said, and they just have so much love for Prabhupada. They're completely surrendered to Prabhupada, and they expected the same from the children, even though they didn't have this connection to Prabhupada, and they were already from a pretty young age. So they wanted them to go to Mangal Arati and to do everything, which was a little far from reality. And then also we had some gurukuls which had some rather negative input towards the children. You know, some cases. So that was not very good. But the main thing is that they expected unrealistic expectations, and and also different ways of training them, like kind of how would you say, more forceful, like you must chant else you go to hell, you know. You're a demon. But I think everybody's growing in the society, and like when we grow up, you know yourself, okay, how it is. Myself, I grew up in Krishna consciousness, has the fortune, so we take it more easy. It's not such a fanatic thing, you know. If you don't do it, then you're not a devotee. But you grow up and you take it as a more natural thing. And if it's more natural, then yeah, of course the children also will accept it. I hope so, yeah. Hare Krishna. Other questions? Sanjay, magst du noch was hinzufügen zu dem, was ich gesagt habe? Irgendwas, was du sagen wolltest, was ich nicht gesagt habe? Venkatapal. Aber der Onkel? Wer ist der? Prabhupada Saraswati, aha, okay. Ja, war von einer der Goswamis war da. Nicht von Gopal Bhatta, dann, ja, das kann man nachgucken. Für einer der Goswamis, one of the, okay, Prabhupada Saraswati was the uncle of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami was Venkata Bhatta. And Tapan Mishran's son was also one of the Goswamis. But we don't know which one right now. If anybody knows, he can tell us. Yeah. Yeah, Raghunath Das cannot be. Yeah. Raghunath Bhatta. Yeah. Yeah, Raghunath Bhatta then. Yeah. He was actually, of the Goswamis, Raghunath Bhatta was one of the main devotees who got lots of mercy. Because Sanatana and Rupa Goswami, they were sent towards Vrindavan. They only had for some short time association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag and in Kashi. And Sanatana Goswami also then later, he had association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly in Jagannath Puri, but not so long. But actually, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he, when he was a very young age, he already wanted to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Generally, the whole story of Tapan Mishra is kind of very dramatic because Tapan Mishra comes in a very early stage when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was still in Navadvip and is performing his Leela, and he is getting the message that he gets the revelation that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he goes there, and nobody yet kind of is so much aware of it. He goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, I want to surrender to you. I want to be part of the association. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, nice, yes, you can be, but you wait, First you go to Kashi, and you wait there for me. I will come. But then actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only came twice, passed by twice for 1 month or a few weeks in Kashi. And so Tapan Mishra only had very little association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And why didn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, you should go to Jagannath Puri, or you should go to stay here with me? He wanted to have the association. He was close with the Supreme Personality of God. He realized it. He was so close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him away. So terrible, huh? But his son, he was very eager, and he heard all the time about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very eager to associate with him. And then he once left also home and then went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I want to surrender to you. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also told him, you must take care of your parents, Tapana Mishra and your mother, because they're getting old. And then, okay, then I go home. And then when they passed away, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him. Said that the parents passed away, and then, okay, now I'm free from my service. Then I go, and it was still some years. And then he was very long time in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. It said he was the one of the Goswamis who had most association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's very, very fortunate. And then, everybody of the 6 Goswamis, they had this own service. For example, it said that, I forgot, one of them had the main service to speak Bhagavatam lectures because he could speak and chant every verse in 12 different tunes and was so poetic. But actually Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami didn't speak on the Bhagavatam. Their service was to write books and to excavate sacred sites. So I thought it's interesting, huh? How is it that only one of the Goswamis was reading the Bhagavatam and chanting the Bhagavatam and the others were not? So so all of the Goswamis had a specific service, and they together had a very nice team to excavate and build up this amazing site of Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gour Bhaktavinda ki jai.